Let's bring in Scott Bauer. He's the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. He's joining us this afternoon for a look at a few he has his eye on. Scott, welcome. Thanks to you, after somewhat of a, muted inflation data point yesterday in terms of the consumer side, the CPI today, the PPI, Producer Price Index, came in a little bit above expectations. That annual pace accelerated to 7.8% year over year on the headline. That's a new all-time high, Scott.
It is a new all-time high, and I think it's a reflection of the issues that we're seeing with supply chains, right? That there's still big demand out there for all sorts of products, and manufacturers can't produce quick enough, and retailers, suppliers, they can't get the goods fast enough. So it's still a supply chain issue. You look at the two together, what we got yesterday, CPI, and today PPI, and maybe you can say that they balance one another out. But I think if anything, collectively, they're probably still a little bit on the hot side.
Yeah, probably not to the point, it seems like, at least without labor joining in to where the Fed's going to act, at least abruptly, and we're seeing that in terms of market conditions. We just pointed out at the top of the show, new all-time highs in the indices, so nothing to really reverse that trend at this point.
Right.
Speaking of, let's take a look at a couple of the credit card companies. We've got MasterCard, Visa, American Express. It looks like we're all on your radar today. Lower after a few Daiwa Capital downgrades. Let's begin with AXP. From outperformed neutral, and they announced a $180 price target on shares.
Yeah, and MasterCard and AXP, and I'll focus on AXP first here, are both in an area that I like them both. They're from a technical and a fundamental standpoint. AXP right now is on some major support, Ben. The 50-day moving average right around 168 or so, where the stock is trading, has been major support for quite a while here. So I'd be looking to enter in some sort of long position here. And what I like about AXP here from the option side of things is option volatility, implied volatility, is very cheap. It is down on the very low end of the spectrum, if you will. So this is the kind of scenario that sets up real nicely for those, in the option space to buy time, to buy maybe a time spread, or what's known as a calendar spread. I like a recovery from here, maybe a slow grind back higher. I love the technical support. So I'd be looking at something around the 180-ish strike in American Express going out to like October expiration.
All right, well, let's talk MasterCard, because they've been grinding lower, coming off a high to begin the month up around that 390 level, back down to this 360 area. They found support there in the past. They've been sideways, really in a range between 360 and 400 since it looks like the beginning of March. I saw Daiwa had a $385 price target on MasterCard. Visa, they have a $250 price target on, both from outperformed to neutral today as well.
MasterCard, very similar to what I see in AXP here, and I like it a lot because there's a lot of support right here, and this one's at the 200-day moving average. Again, implied volatility, option volatility is very cheap, meaning you can buy time very inexpensively. So again, I'm looking for MasterCard for a little bit of a rebound off of those areas at the 200-day moving average here, and I would do calendar spreads again, buying myself some time, going out to October, maybe even a little bit further than that, right up around the 380 strike, which you had just talked about, kind of on the higher end of that range, that it's been trading at.
How about Visa, Scott?
So Visa, technically, that one to me is kind of in the middle of no man's land. That one actually broke down through the support that I was looking at there. That's the one I'd stay away from. If I was going to do something here in the credit card space, I really like both AXP and MasterCard. Visa is the one I'd be a little bit careful of.
Okay, looks like the Delta variant concerns weighing on the pay space in general as they've come off those highs from earlier this month, late last month. Let's talk Airbnb, another focal point for investors, for traders, amidst some of the Delta variant concerns, all this pent-up demand to want to travel, but yet some unease related to some of the spread of the variant. The Airbnb is set to report today on the close, headed into the quarterly results. I saw near the upper extreme of the range that they've been in since the beginning of May, Scott.
It is, and I think the results are going to be pretty good versus expectations. However, much like we've seen across the space here, it's going to come down to guidance, and it's really going to come down to what they see happening with the Delta variant right now. So again, I think those numbers are going to be pretty good. I wouldn't want to buy this heading into the print here. The market maker expected move that option markets are pricing in right now is about a $10 move one way or the other. If things fall short here, if guidance is not good, if the stock falls off, the 130 to 132 area, Ben, is an area I'd watch for, where I'd want to definitely dip my toes in, but I'm not getting in front of this one ahead of the print.
All right, double bottom there, May and July. How about DoorDash, ticker symbol DASH, this week to mid-Feb levels, adding the gains off the May lows down around 110, ahead of quarterly results on the bell today.
Absolutely, and we've been making higher highs and higher lows over the last 3 months or so, and I see that trend continuing. Option market pricing in about a $15, $16 move. I think it's going to be to the upside. Big news that the talks fell apart with the acquisition of Instacart, which Instacart were the ones that actually started that conversation. So I think that's actually a benefit for DoorDash here. I think things are going to move higher.
Seems to be. Investors also agree. Slightly lower here today, but we'll wait for the results this afternoon, and certainly a well-defined trend up here. They've got some hurdles to get up above. It looks like around 230, and ultimately those highs, that spike high up around 256. But Scott, we appreciate you joining us here to get ahead of a couple names that are reporting and take a look at a few that are on the move in reaction to analyst comments, and we'll break down that PPI number this morning as well. Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, thanks for joining us.